Well, guess what, Australia? The polls got it wrong. The nation was absolutely blindsided on Saturday night after Scott Morrison charged a victory. Well, was the nation blindsided or were the media blindsided? Even as late as Friday night, polls had Labor ahead, 51
The
to 49.
pollsters were blindsided.
The pollsters, I mean, who are they anyway? On the two-party preferred vote, 51 to 49, leading Australians to actually question how polls are conducted. What are their relevance anymore?
Good point, David. Let's get today's take on this with Shelly.
Thanks, Sonia. That's all we've got time for.
9honey.com.au and comedian Vince Sorrenti. Should we conduct a poll?
Yeah.
Who won the election?
Polls are rubbish.
I think that David hit the nail on the head. The journalists were surprised. The politicians were surprised. Regular punters probably don't care that much about polls. I don't think a poll really affects the way you're going to vote. And I think when I read this article about how they're now conducting the polls, their methods are very flawed. It used to be that they would go to a certain number of people in each electorate. They would contact them by a home phone number, which no one has anymore.
Yeah, no.
And so now they're just dealing with mobiles and it could be anywhere. So, yeah.
David has a theory on that.
My theory is because Labor is only Labor, old Labor people that still have. You're just calling Graham Richardson over and over again. Where are we now, Richo? 51-49? Great, I'll write that down.
Done.
Yeah.
What do you think, Vince?
Well, the polls got it right. I mean, in terms of preferred Prime Minister, Bill Shorten has always been behind. And I think for a lot of people, 22% of people don't decide who they're going to vote for till they get into that cardboard booth. That's a strange fact, but it's true. And for a lot of people, that's what it comes down to. If you want to know who's going to win an election, ask a comedian. I mean, I've correctly tipped, and I knew Morrison was going to win. I speak to hundreds or even like thousands of people a week in front of me, and you know how they react to people. And I've never, in the last few years, had the impression that Shorten had any gravitas with the audience. I mean, not like Kevin Rudd did in 07 or like Abbott did in 13.
So you've got them built into your material.
So you're
you can tell when you do a line about someone,
So
you can tell how they react.
Polls.
The
What
Sorrenti
we
poll.
do is next
Yes.
Monday the Sorrenti poll will
Just
come
call
out.
me.
Yes.
Yeah. First pay the fee, then call me.
On a landline.
Love it. Also making news, students in New South Wales public schools have been told they can't participate in major school events without giving permission for their name and photo to appear on social media. It follows an increase in the number of schools using pics of kids on public Facebook pages and school websites. So, Vince, parents say this violates their children's privacy and puts them in danger online.
Yes. I mean, I'm very careful with what I do with my young kids. I mean, when a kid gets to a certain age, they can make their own social media decisions, but I'm not comfortable with a school controlling my kids' images. And if they want my kid on a social media, then they're going to have to pay the rights because my kid is a computer game influencer and there will be a fee attached to seeing him on there.
The data. I feel like I don't feel like the kids should be excluded from sporting events and things like that just because they can't control their social media output. And I also feel like, hey, you've been using kids' images for decades.
Yeah. So my issue is that they don't get to participate if they don't agree to be photographed, and that's wrong. Because these are like the sports days and the fun things that
These are the things we are trying to encourage.
They're trying to encourage participation.
Should be doing.
Exactly. And I also think if you look at their social media guidelines, Facebook, you're not supposed to be on it till you're 13. Instagram, it's 15 or 16. So it's actually breaching social media guidelines anyway. So I kind of think they're shooting themselves in the foot, and I do not agree with them saying that they can't participate because of it.
4 out of 4 people in this Serenity poll thinks that that is wrong.
Done.
Yeah, no, I'm conflicted.
Are you
Really?
Oh, wait, through.
Hang on.
The polls are wrong.
If I was a working parent, my child was participating in school. Maybe that's the only way I'm going to see them do their thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe. Just
is there some mother's guilt coming out
here?
here?
That's a good point too. Like if I miss out on something,
Guilty.
you do miss. You can't be at every event all the time.
Yeah, but then the school is controlling that. That's the bit I don't like. They're controlling who sees it, and I think that's always got to be in the parents' domain.
We're just going to revise the poll again. 2 out of 4 people on steps. I think this is a good idea.
Stay with us when we come back. Why uni students claim they're unprepared for the real world.
And is your text bubble blue or green?
Oh, it changes.
I know, I hate that, right? We're going to explain that one and the science behind it when today's returns.
Science. Welcome back, everyone. University students aren't ready for work. That's according to a study.
Polls.
We found students
Just ask Vance.
are
Forget this.
graduating feeling unprepared for the real world.
I like a new segment called Just Ask
Just
Vince.
Ask Vince.
Just
Yeah.
Ask Vince. And Shelly, too, still here to discuss this. Shell, I'll go to you first before we go to our polling expert.
Yes.
So the study actually says 80% of uni graduates feel unprepared for the workforce because they don't have the skills to get a job. So they're there doing essay upon essay upon essay, but they don't know how to do it.
Has this ever changed? This is the thing. I mean, I
Are they
remember
making
when
people professors, really, is what they're doing at university.
I remember at uni studying journalism, and it was so much theory that how could that possibly, be applicable when you go for a job? It wasn't until I started doing work experience while I was at uni and getting practical experience.
But were there not units of professional practice within your degree?
Yes, the only subject that I failed in my entire degree was journalism ethics.
Honey, you still failed. You still failed. That's okay.
Is that a brown paper bag under the table there?
Surely I came out like with flying colours because I studied leisure.
Hey, Vince, did you study? I didn't study.
I did. Well, mate, I want to say three things about this. First of all, I think there's always been that disconnect between the uni world and the
Real
working real world.
It's supposed to be a bubble in a way for those kids.
Secondly, though, jobs are changing. Like, you could start a 5-year degree now, and that job might not even exist or it could be digitally disrupted or whatever.
Yeah.
And thirdly, it's had no effect on me. I mean, I studied architecture for 6 years and I became a comic. I mean, that's really coming very, very handy, But believe me, folks, you're a lot watching me on lot safer watching me on stage than sitting in one of my buildings.
Now, we do need to get onto this because I want to know what colour your text bubble is.
Don't talk about my bubbles on TV.
There's a divide in the smartphone world, David, between Apple's iPhone and devices that run on Google's Android software, and it's impacting people's love life. So if you have an iPhone, your bubble is blue.
Yes. Unless it goes as a text message.
No, it's an iMessage.
iMessage.
Yeah,
Okay, so for Android users, it's green.
Right.
Yeah. Vince, people are judging.
Yeah, I reckon this
on
is
the
just a bit of marketing from Apple because I don't think this is a thing. I talked to my 15-year-old daughter about this. She'd never heard of it.
You polled your daughter.
Now, I polled her. Get a good feedback from her.
I think it's a thing. Because if it's green, I always think, did it go? Did it actually
That's what I
go?
think.
Yeah.
Do you see it?
Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
It goes-
I
gets
just
sent
think,
as a
you know
text
what?
message.
So they're saying that millennials are rejecting, potential dates because it's like, oh, they've got an Android. Ew. I think that that's probably right because millennials are just looking for any reason to reject someone and not actually commit
I love
and
this
have
though.
a relationship.
Can't believe I kissed a boy with green text and I'm so nice. That was my act of charity for the year.
Mate,
That's funny.
this is just Apple. Apple are arrogant, mate. They think their product is better. They change their plugs just to make you go and buy another one. You have to have Apple TV to cast your you have to change the software and then the phone. I've been on Android for 7 years. I will never go back to iPhone. It's a superior product.
I'm really sorry, you cannot sit with us.
Apple haven't got that arrogance anymore. They used to have it, but they were good then, and now everyone's caught
Well,
up.
the polls say that 3 out of 4 people don't agree with you, Vince. Let us know, are you an Apple or an Android user? Show us your bubbles. On
Thank you,
Facebook
guys.
and Twitter. Thanks,
Thank
team.
you.
Always good to see you. Still to come, decoding your dreams. We're diving deep into your subconscious.